Mike Deuce Knight finally has flipped from Notre Dame to Auburn. We have been anticipating this for a good amount of time. It is now reality. Any indication why this week was the right time for Deuce to make the flip?
Not really. I mean, he's coming off his official visit there, but the reporting leading into it from not only the Auburn side of things, but the Notre Dame side of things was not this. There was a report from Auburn Live, the On3 Tigers website. It's done a really good job reporting on this recruitment, oftentimes breaking news on the certain visits and whatnot. They were saying that Ole Miss might be the bigger threat to Notre Dame than Auburn. This was like at the end of September. So this one was just so strange, Darren. I know that if you just follow the visits, this one had a flip to Auburn written all over it. But the like specific reporting from me and some of the other sites were like, this is not a slam dunk for Deuce Knight to flip from Auburn to Notre Dame. It just wasn't. But here we are. Here we are. So I know so many YouTube comments and tweets and what message board posts are just like, finally, it's over. Or Mike, can you please stop talking about this? I plan for look, Deuce Knight is going to live on in Notre Dame lore for like Notre Dame fans. You can't tell me you don't care about this because you're going to keep talking about him and you're going to follow his career at Auburn. I just know you are. But in terms of like, we're going to be talking about Deuce for specific, interviews and whatnot for our show, Darren, like it's kind of, this is it. Like we obviously had to do a little special show to discuss this. But otherwise, yeah, it's over. Deuce Knight is going to Auburn. Well, at least let me say this. He's not coming to Notre Dame. He's not coming to Notre Dame. Will he end up flipping to Ole Miss down the road? Or maybe Lane Kiffin ends up at Florida like a lot of people think? Then maybe, like, who the heck knows? But, yeah, he's not coming to Notre Dame. So that's what I got for you right now, Darren.
Two-part question. Number one, does that mean Notre Dame is going to close the door on ever talking to him once again? And how fully prepared are the Irish now to move on, trying to find a quarterback in the 25 cycle?
I haven't heard anything that would indicate Notre Dame's going to keep talking to Deuce. But I mean, never say never. It's recruiting. But in terms of the preparation, I did cover this in our article at Blue and Gold last night. I did take off Wednesday. Sorry, guys, it's on me. I took off. I should have known better. Crap hits the fan when Mike Singer tries to take a day off during the bye week. But I did write an article not only covering some behind-the-scenes stuff on Deuce Knight's flip, but then what's next for Notre Dame. And here's what I can say, Darren. Notre Dame definitely has been getting their ducks in a row for this to happen. But the thing is, this flip was supposed to happen so many different times. So Notre Dame starts to line their ducks up in a row, let's say early August after this starts. Like the Deuce takes a visit to Auburn. It's like, okay, this looks like he's going to flip. Notre Dame's kind of getting their ducks in a row. And let's say you're that quarterback who now Notre Dame's going to try to flip. 2 months has gone by and they haven't done anything. I'm sitting here like, I'm not sitting around waiting for you to come after me, Notre Dame. So things start to fall through. So I get like Deuce is an incredible quarterback. If you're Notre Dame, you have to fight this fight to try to keep this elite 5-star caliber committed. You can't just say bye-bye. I'm sorry. No, I know a lot of Notre Dame fans would have liked Notre Dame to do that, especially sounds great in hindsight, but it's just not the way of the world of recruiting works. Notre Dame needs to go after a guy like Deuce Knight and try to keep him locked in, especially the way that things seem to have been trending. But regardless, for them lining up getting their ducks in a row, it's like things have dragged out to the point where like some of the things that they may have had cooking if this would have happened 6 weeks ago have kind of fallen through. So it's not that Notre Dame's at ground zero, Darren, like they have to start over, but it's not as if they have a flip ready to go. Not to my knowledge, at least. I guess we'll see. But it's not at a point where it's like, all right, this is the guy right now. This is who they're going to go flip. To my knowledge, that is not it. but they're not at like, okay, let's see who is out there. They might have to start the groundwork going a little bit, or kind of get things going again. But again, they're not starting from zero, if that makes sense.
Sure. Mike, this roster, looking ahead to 2025, as Steve Angeli, our expectation he would be back along with Kenny Minchie and CJ Carr. Down the road, you're hoping you're going to sign Noah Grubbs, who looks like a tremendous talent. So for fans that are saying we can withstand this, we can absorb this loss, how would you respond to that?
Yeah, you definitely can, and that's kind of the thought on the Notre Dame side of things right now. You lose Deuce, it stinks. There's no doubt about it, but they do feel good about, I mean, not only signing a good quarterback in the 2025 class, you got Grubbs behind in 2026, who has, one of the best arms in his class. They feel fantastic about CJ Carr. And then if it is Carr in 2025, what that means for Minchie and Angeli. Listen, it's not like rocket science to figure out if you have a younger guy starting over older guys, there's a likelihood that the older guys leave. Like Jaden Mickey gets passed up by Christian Gray. What does he do? Transfer. It's not 100% of the time, obviously, that this will happen, but at the quarterback spot where it's one guy plays at a time, it's more likely to. It just is, especially, like a Minchie. I don't know. Like he's a younger guy. It's not like he's about to get his degree. Would he leave? And Jelly's an interesting case because he is close to getting his degree. Like I don't know. But it makes it very important to sign a 2025 quarterback so you have more depth. And then, yeah, if you do have quarterbacks transfer out, could they go and get, as of I've opined before, you go get a lower level FCS guy to kind of add quarterback depth if you do go with Carr for 2025. But overall, yeah, the sense in the building this morning is no panic, Darren. Like there's no, oh, we lost Deuce, program's falling apart. Would have been a really nice quarterback to have. I mean, he is as good as they get in terms of like high ceiling. The quarterback from Lucedale, Mississippi. But you still do have a talented crop of quarterbacks, and you have Grubbs committed in 26, and we'll see what they do for the rest of this 25 cycle, which is they got 2 months to figure this thing out.
Mike, final question for you. You were around Deuce Knight. You interviewed him face to face. I think you have a good understanding how he ticks. And ultimately, he was all in on Notre Dame. All the visits. You always tell me, follow the visits. And for so long, he was making just trips to South Bend that he really didn't need to make. And he was making phone calls and friends to kids that he wanted to be a part of this 25 class. Ultimately, at the end of the day, and I know you've been following this for so long and there's so much information. Ultimately today, are you shocked that we are here based on the times that you talked to him within the last year or so?
Yes and no. Like if you just are very casual and you look at this and you say Notre Dame got a kid from Mississippi and he flipped to Auburn, it's like, no, it's not a shock. It's not at all. Just
Part
again,
of the narrative.
if it's just very casual, you look at this, not a shock. But I mean, some of the things that I had heard from people close to Deuce and Deuce himself, and quote, he told me, was it early July? Quote, I'm going to Notre Dame.
Hmm.
He told me that, and then I texted him afterwards just to kind of make sure. I was like, is this okay to like put out in this graphic that you can find it on social media, on the Blue and Gold Instagram even. Is like, I wanted to make sure the words were clear, not like I'm going to Notre Dame like for a visit. It's like, Ben saw it, I'm going to Notre Dame. It's like, yeah, that's good. And then things change. What changed from so solid going to spent like all of June in South Bend pretty much, like, to this in the blink of an eye? It was a shocker to folks in the building. And like, just what happened? Like, I get it. Like, he wanted to play ball in the SEC. I get some of those things, but it's not like he just realized Notre Dame's not, in the South and not playing in the SEC. So some of these things, it doesn't really make sense, but it's what happened, and Notre Dame lost a good player. But again, not the end of the world.